All right, guys, let's try this. Uh, I'm not really getting any views or comments on any of my other stuff. Any doesn't matter if I'm showing pictures of crows moving into the neighborhood or anything. So let's do it like this. Let's see if talking about myself will get me any more views or maybe make his freaking hair stand out right. Anyway, see, I can't smash this down though. Anyway, folks, I'm going to tell you a story about my childhood. And this ended up following me for a long time. Now, where I come from, folks, I grew up, I was born in Nashville, Tennessee, same place my dad was. And within 4 years after that, we were in Indiana because my brother was born in Indianapolis. So 4 years after I was born, we were in Indiana. We were already living in Indiana, and we moved to a town called Greenwood, one of the most racist cities I could tell you about that at that time that I lived in, because there were no black people that lived in Greenwood, Indiana until the late 70s, like 1978 or maybe 77. And the only reason they allowed this one black family to move in to Greenwood, Indiana, is because they're so big in football, basketball, all them sports shit, and from Indiana. Well, they lost a good quarterback one year. They couldn't come up with another one. And all them winning football championships and stuff was important to my school. So they found a player and brought them in from outside. Oh, yeah. And everybody knew it because it was a black boy. I liked the guy. We got along. We didn't get along. There was times we got along. We didn't get along, and that's another story of my life. But when we moved into Greenwood, Indiana, this was early '60s. We my I don't know how it came about, but my dad ended up landing a job in the painters union up there, and he used his VA loan from being in the Korean War. He used it to buy the house I grew up in. And back then, folks, it was a 3-bedroom house with 2 baths. Was it 2 baths or 2 paths? They used to sell, folks. They used to sell houses. It's got 2 bedrooms and a path. You think I'm kidding you? The path was to the outhouse. I ain't shitting you. But I don't think the house when we moved in it had 2 bathrooms in it. But my dad made a closet in the master bedroom into a bathroom. Is what happened. But my dad could do a lot of things, folks. He did a lot in construction. He knew a lot of shit. He didn't have but a 6th grade education, but he lived through the first or the last, let's see, 9 years of the Great Depression was his first 9 years of his life. And you guys know that shit. It went on past many years past that people, were having hard times. So he, probably the first 20 years of his life before he went into the Korean War was based off of nothing, having nothing. And, but he bought this house with his VA loan. And it was, I remember, it was an older house. We didn't have no air conditioning, folks. Now, I did have a gas heater. And duct work and stuff for the heater. But we didn't have no air conditioning. It was offered, but that was a luxury back then. If you had air conditioning back then, you either added it or those houses in that entire neighborhood did not have air conditioning in them when they were built. Let's just put it like that. But over the years, some people went from window air conditioners to other things to full central air, but they had to do a complete remodel. And my dad remodeled this house and everything, folks, but we still never had no air conditioning. When he sold it, it didn't have air conditioning. Hell, he bitched about the damn refrigerator light being on when you open the door to get something to drink or something like that. But he'd see that light on, he'd jump up and go, "Shut that door, that light's burning electricity," and shit, folks. I ain't shitting with you. Yeah, we were heating outside if we were going out the front door or the back door. We were letting heat out. We were heating outside and shit. He'd go through the house flipping lights off. My sister'd be in her bedroom. Me and my brother'd be in our bedroom doing something. And him and my mom be in the living room. He'd get up and just jump up. He'd flip off the fucking kitchen light, go back through there, flip off my sister's light, flip off our bedroom light. I'm not lighting the whole damn world. But this neighborhood that we moved in, it was a pretty tough-ass neighborhood, folks. We had these guys that they'd been living in this neighborhood all their lives. They were corn-fed boys, and they lived right across the street. And my sister was she was bigger than me and my brother. My brother was the youngest. Hell, he was 5 years younger than my sister and 4 years younger than me. And but my sister was the tallest one out of all of us. She always was. Out of the whole damn family, other than on my uncle's side. But anyway, these boys, man, they started on us almost day one, moving into the neighborhood. And it got to a point that, because Watachi had a mouth on him, even though he was small. Oh, he could run, though, for a short distance. But these guys didn't know I had breathing problems. All I had to do was be quick enough to get out of their sight and be able to hide. I ain't playing with you, folks. It's just like in these chase scenes when these cops are chasing these Hellcats and shit. Once a Hellcat gets out of sight, it's a dumb deal, because they can shut that thing down, pull in somewhere, shut it down, turn it off, and there ain't nobody. That cop ain't gonna know. But that's the way it used to be so one of the things these guys, they started beating on me. And they beat on my brother a little bit, but not as much. They fucked with my sister, but she was a girl. I was the oldest boy, so I had to take the shit. So I started learning to ride other buses because these guys were big, man. Oh shit, they both had a foot or two on me, and they were the football players when we got into middle school, they played football and shit. But they made me learn, start fucking fighting or dying. That's basically what it was, either fight or die. Now, I want you guys to know, back then, in the town I grew up in, if somebody come up and kick your fucking ass and you weren't going to fight them, oh, they're going to hit you. They're going to hit you at least once, kick you at least once, something. They're going to do something and knock you down. And as long as you stayed down, the fight was over. It was over. They wouldn't hit you or kick you again. They would just talk shit about you and let you lay down there and cry. But the fight would be over. We didn't have the need to put scars and make people bleed and shit like that. If you had a problem with somebody, you fucking dealt with it. Okay, well, let's fight. Whoever stays down, if they get knocked down, they stay down. You leave them alone. Nobody would, if you started kicking them and beating on them while they were on the ground, no, that wasn't going to be allowed by even anybody watching. And it wasn't no damn, you had to do some rules of fighting. No, you guys got to fight, and it didn't matter if you was kicking, punching, biting, scratching, whatever. If it went to the ground and you were both, hey, even and some of them could, if they yell, hey, I'm done, they would fucking stop. Not today. People back when I was a kid, the high school. When I went to high school, we're a farming community. Probably half the vehicles in the high school parking lot were trucks. All these trucks had gun racks in the back window. They would hold at least 2 or 3 or 4. Some gun racks would hold 4 rifles or 4 weapons. Most of the time, there was at least one rifle big enough to take down a bear or something, and a shotgun to deal with everything else. But even a shotgun slug, you want a rifle for a bear. Something like that, something big, folks, you want a rifle for, okay? You don't want to mess with a shotgun. But 90% of the time, the shotgun with buckshot or deer slugs in it will deal with the problem. All these trucks had a rifle and a shotgun, maybe 2 rifles and 2 shotguns, or 1 shotgun and 3 different rifles, depending on what, they might be dealing with coyotes or something like that. They didn't need something big enough to take down a bear with, A lot of the cars in the parking lot, people, we all knew it. We all took these guns out into the freaking woods and shot them. Pistols were in the glove boxes, folks. There wasn't no laws against any of this. Not even on high school property. And this wasn't 100, 200, 300 years ago, folks. This was 60, no, less than that. 50, 40, and 50 years ago, folks. There would be people. I got the hell beat out of me. I don't know how many times. I knew cars that were standing open that had guns in the freaking glove box. I knew trucks that were wide open. I could reach up and grab a rifle or a shotgun These trucks weren't even locked. Could reach in there and grab it and just start killing people if I had that mindset. But we didn't have all your video games and shit, folks. We knew what a gun, handgun, and a rifle and shotgun would do. We didn't even ever threaten people with any of them. We didn't. There was a story that I heard about later in life that my brother-in-law heard about from the guys that did this to me, because my brother-in-law was married to my sister before my sister graduated high school, or had my sister pregnant before she graduated high school, and they were married not long after that. And they were married for, I think, 28 years or something, folks. And my nephew was the one that told me that his dad was the one that told this story to him about me. And I got to the point, people, when I was a kid, man, hey, I drank. And most of the people who wanted to hurt me knew that. And these people would wait until I was blown out drunk. I started drinking at 11 years old, folks. But these guys knew, over the years, the beatings and all the shit that I had to take, these guys knew over the years they didn't want to fuck with me if I wasn't drunk. And there was a story that went around and ended up being proven that it was a lie about me, that I supposedly beat up a girl and raped her. And her stepdad was a Greenwood police officer. And he even told me about it, that I was being accused of that by his stepdaughter. And he had known me most of my life. But this was somebody, he got married and had a young stepdaughter that made that claim. And he even started calling my parents and saying, hey, man, this girl's saying your son beat her up and raped her. And it ended up coming out. My parents said, okay, well, when did this happen? And so this police officer asked his stepdaughter, I need a day and time and everything on when all this happened. What exact day was it, what night it was, or whatever. And the date that she gave him, the day, the night, or whatever she had gave him, he looked it up. Or no, he called my parents and gave them that date, and they're going, wait a minute. Because it wasn't that very long ago. And they're going, wait a minute, on that weekend, Brian was already in jail. He was already in jail for some disorderly conduct, drunk, underage drinking or something. He was already sitting in the jail. So the police officer that had the stepdaughter went and checked. And I had been in jail for 2 days when she claimed I beat her up and raped her. Now, it didn't matter because that news didn't go around town. The news that went around town was I beat her up and raped her. People, the truth was she moved into the neighborhood, and I think she had a bad boy complex, or she liked them bad boys. And she was so much younger than me, I said, ain't no way, I don't want nothing to do with you, hell no, stay the hell away from me. And she wanted more than that. Well, these guys surrounded me one night. Four of them. Three of them didn't want to really hit me because they grew up in the neighborhood with me. And they were like, look, I'm not going to hit him because they knew I was drunk. They didn't know if I would remember them beating the hell out of me. But three of them decided, hey, you know what? We'll keep him in place. And one guy decided he was going to do all the punching. And he didn't kick me, folks. He only punched me. But they were going to do some damage to me for raping that girl and getting away with it. That's basically what they were doing. And these guys, they beat on me. Or, well, the one guy did. And I'm drunk. I'm telling you, I'm falling down drunk. And I don't know where. I'm trying to swing. I can't even swing and shit. It was stupid. And I do remember it. I just had no body control. I remember getting the shit beat out of me. And I know why, and I know everybody involved. And Bobby Baker was the name of the guy that punched me. Started punching me. The rest of them would not let. All they would do was keep me there. They wouldn't let me leave. They wouldn't let me walk away. They just, if I stood back up, they'd make me stand there and take another hit. And this guy would look at me. He knocked me down, folks. I was drunker than hell. He'd knock me down. And he'd tell me, just stay down, Brian. Don't get back up or I'm going to knock you down again. And I'm getting the fuck up. Well, you're going to have to knock me down again then, because I ain't going to stay down. And these guys beat on, or this one guy kept hitting me and kept hitting me. To the point that the other three said, no, we're not going to, because I kept getting back up. Every punch he hit me in the face knocked me down. I couldn't even block him. I was so drunk. And I got back up. To the point the other three guys said, no, I'm bleeding. My nose is bleeding. I'm bleeding from cuts around. You guys see a lot of these scars around my eye and shit are from being beat. And this one side's a lot lower than the other. I think I got hit a lot more in this eye than I did the other one. And it is my bad eye. It is my bad eye. But this guy finally, the other guys refused to hold me in place so he could hit me anymore. And he finally stopped hitting me and walked away. These four guys, they beat on me to a pulp, but I kept standing up. I was probably a teenager at the time. I'm pretty sure I was a teenager at the time. Now, this story got back to my nephews. They were fucking talking to their dad that knows these guys, talked to these guys about it and shit. Grew up with them like I did. And they told him the story. And he told them boys, and my nephews, both my nephews towered over me. Their dad was 6', I think he was 6'2", 6'1" or 6'2". My sister was 5'9", and their two boys, even their daughter's taller than me, but their two boys were over 6 foot, big boys. And there was times we had crosswords and shit when they were younger that one of them would say something, I'm going to kick Uncle Brian's ass. I'm going to kick his ass. And their dad sat them both down and looked them in the eye and said, let me tell you about Brian. The thing about Brian is you can beat on him and you can beat on him, and you can beat on him, and he's going to keep coming. So you might want to rethink your abilities, because their own father told them, I know what Brian can do, and he's not going to stop coming. Well, folks, I'm not going to stop coming today either. I'm not going to stop. People want to hit me in the face. But I'm going to keep getting back up. I'm going to keep coming. And I'm going to keep bringing the truth and putting it in your face. And you can keep hitting me. You can bloody my face up. But I'm going to keep getting up. And I'm going to keep coming back at you and showing you. You need to find the way. Jesus' path. He said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. People, it doesn't matter what you think of me. It doesn't matter what you do to me. Unless you kill me, I'm going to stand right back up and say the same thing right to your face. So, if you're willing to keep punching, keep punching. I'll keep getting up. One day, you'll get tired of punching and maybe listen. Or not. But God loves you. I love you. Jesus, seek the way, seek the path. That's all I ask. This is just a story about old Watachi. Till next time, folks. Love you.